Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Rick here, and on today's video we're going to talk about black tank and gray tank maintenance, so stay tuned. Yeah. So Kevin, what are we doing today?
So we're going to basically pressure wash the inside of your tanks. We're going to use this pressure washer, and we're going to stick this special nozzle which has a point which goes forward, which will break up any debris, and it has some back holes which will help this feed in.
Yeah.
Now this hose is still a little bit thick. It's a little cool out here, so hopefully you'll start to limber up a little bit. Yeah.
Is this something that, you know, RV owners should be doing on a routine basis?
It really depends. I think how much food do you put down your kitchens, your kitchen sink, and how much oils and all this stuff. And what happens is over time is inside the tank there's a substance that develops called struvite. It's like, think of peanut brittle attached to the walls.
Yeah.
And this will just break all that up, and you'll see it come through the extender because it's clear, so that'd be kind of cool to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it's just basically pressure washing your inside of your tanks and getting it nice and clean, which will help prevent odors.
Yeah, and then same thing up for the black tank as well. You're just getting out a lot of the sludge and everything.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily flush out whenever you just do a normal flush.
Yeah, because you may have some tissue kind of clinging to the sides. I hate to be gross, but
yeah,
you do have that, which will also give you a false indicator on your tank readings. Sometimes you'll read 3/4 full or full when it's empty, and vice versa.
So does the black tank flush, like on my Airstream? Is that adequate for trying to flush out the black tank or not?
You talking about this port?
Yeah.
So this port basically is just like a shower for the tank. So think of a shower stall, and you have a shower and you're just sort of rinsing it around. That's what it does, but it doesn't have any pressure.
Okay.
Whereas this is going to give, this pressure washer is rated at, let's see, this is rated at 1700 psi.
Oh yeah.
And you're good to go. I know a lady that uses 2500 psi, so you're not going to do any kind of harm whatsoever.
Okay, so just the normal black tank flush is really only going to rinse out the black tank.
It's going to rinse it out, but it won't pressure any.
It won't thoroughly clean it.
It won't thoroughly clean it.
Okay.
It's like, think of pressure washing, dirt off your truck or whatever.
Sure.
You're going to get much more surface area.
Okay. Well, what do we need to do to get started?
All right. So first thing we're going to do is empty out black tank, because we want to have a kind of an empty tank first. Then we're going to chase that out with our gray tank. So now we'll have 2 empty tanks. Okay. To start with. Maybe we can even do a little rinse on here first, just to you want to get everything clean as much as possible before you start. Yeah. Okay. So we'll empty the black tank first, then we'll empty the gray tank. Chase the black with the gray. Yep. And then we'll clean out the black first, and then we'll clean out the gray. Okay. Until it comes out clear. All right. Let's do it. Yeah. Sounds good. All right.
All right, so like Kevin said, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and empty out the black tank. So I'm going to get my gloves on here, just to kind of keep everything pretty safe. And if you haven't noticed, or you may be able to see here, I've got a Valterra valve on here, an extender that I added on after I bought my Airstream. That's real handy in that it is a second layer of protection in case your other valves, your black tank or gray tank valves, ever start leaking. So if you don't have one, highly recommend it. You can pick them up at Amazon. They're not very expensive, but just an added protection whenever you're dumping your black and gray tank. So we'll go ahead and get the black tank pulled and let it start emptying out. All right, so we got the black tank emptied out. We're going to go ahead and start emptying out the gray tank, and then we'll let Kevin get in here and he can start with the power washing.
The reason why we go in and out is to get that tip to kind of maneuver positions. Yeah. You want it to sort of feed up and then over and around, whereas if you just leave it in there, it's just going to stay there. So you always want to disturb this hose. That's what I was saying. Black tank is usually not the dirtiest. It's your gray tank that's usually the dirtiest. Yeah. So, all right, let's get this. All right, so Rick's gonna have a turn here.
Yep, so I can't escape cleaning my own black tanks, even though as much as I'd like to.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta be somewhat coordinated to do this. Hand-eye foot coordination. Yeah, I let the professional do it.
There you go. All right.
All right, I'm not sure if I could call myself trained on this task, but I'm gonna hand it back over to Kevin and let him continue on.
Ready to do some gray tank action here?
Yeah, we'll move on from the black tank and over to the gray tank and see how embarrassing this can be too.
It's not embarrassing. It's just soaps and, you know, oils from, you know, dishes and cooking oils and detergents and all that stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so let's, this is the black. We're gonna close it. And now we're gonna open up the gray. And
just basically repeat the process.
Repeat
just
the
on,
process.
On the gray tank.
And I'm gonna tell you now, usually the gray tank is often worse than the black.
So Kevin, so I think we finally got mission complete on the gray tank.
Mission accomplished. Quite dirty, but you know, to be expected.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what you should see if you haven't done it, you know, in several months to a year or so. In your case, it was probably never done from the previous owner.
Yeah, first time.
And so, yeah, might be something you want to consider doing once a year. I think it's highly beneficial.
Well, and then, you know, also be considerate of what you're putting down in your black and gray tanks as well. Like we mentioned, we don't put any toilet paper down ours, and then of course you shouldn't be putting any food, you know, or anything like that down your gray tank as well. So just try to minimize what you're putting down in those tanks.
Just whatever goes into your drain goes into your tank, and then all that stuff just builds over time.
Yeah.
You'll never, you know, you can never get it all out. So then when your tank's full, a lot of that stuff will, you know, start sticking to the sides.
Yeah.
And then as you drain, that residue sits there and it becomes struvite.
Yeah. And then that's where you start getting inaccuracies in your readings on your tanks as well.
Yes. Because you know, where the sensors are, you have an obstruction.
Yep.
And so now that you wash all that obstruction, mold or struvite off, you're gonna now should read, you know, accurate readings.
Yeah. Hey guys, so we're inside the camper and we're gonna go ahead and check to see what our tank readings are now since we've had them flushed out. So gray tank reading 0. So that's a good indication that we were able to get all of that sediment out of the gray tank. Now, but the real test is gonna be on the black tank. Ever since we've owned this camper, I've never seen the reading below 10 or 15%. And I've always thought that was just because it had sediment built up in there. So look, right there at 0%. So just using that pressure washer was able to free up all of those solid deposits that were in the bottom of our black tank. So again, highly recommend having your tanks flushed at least once a year. Yeah. So, but in lieu of doing this, you know, every time that you're emptying your tanks, just using a good quality tank
cleaner.
cleaner.
Unique is a really good brand, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
Happy Camper. You know, there's a million different products out there, but I would just get something that has some good enzymes that'll just emulsify really good.
Yeah.
And Unique seems to be at least it's our preferred liquid. It's, you know, comes in a bottle, you know, 2 or 3 little squirts and you're good.
Yeah. All right, guys, so that's going to do it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed this content on black tank and gray tank maintenance. I do want to give a shout out to my neighbor here and our good friend Kevin. Also, I want to just give him a shout out on his YouTube channel. So if you haven't had a chance, check out his YouTube channel, Our Second Life. And you know, if you haven't already done so and you like this content, give us a big thumbs up, a like, and subscribe, and we'll see you down the road.